Hey guys, week 5. It's Wednesday. Uh, I'm recording on Wednesday again. Major highlights from this week. I actually managed to record some footage while running with my camera because I got a selfie stick. Notice what is not attached to this selfie stick though is my phone. And that's because I recorded just fine, and then when I went to turn it off, it popped out of the cradle and I broke my phone. Now, I've never broken a cell phone before, but it's supposed to be getting fixed. It was supposed to get fixed yesterday, but the part didn't come in. So it's supposed to be coming in today. Should be fixed today. But I was like, well, for the sake of getting this done, because it's fall break for my kids, so they're at home, and I'm trying to rearrange stuff and squeak it in when I can. I was like, I'll just record it on the crappy camera on the computer. But we got a better microphone here at least. So we're in the office today because that's where I'm at with my microphone and my laptop. Keeping an eye on things around the house before the babysitter gets here in a little bit so I can go to work. So, recap. In the last week or so, last week we ended up only getting about 53 miles total. I was tired last week. Go back and watch last week's video if you haven't seen it yet. But we were tired, right? And so still ran 16 miles on Saturday. However, I had a serious case of cat and lapitis when I got up in the morning. I sat down on the couch and one of the cats hopped in my lap. And so consequently, I did not pre-hydrate like I should have. And so I was a little bit on the struggle bus. I took Tailwind with me. I had one goo at like about an hour in, and I had the other one at like I think about an hour and 25 in. And the goos hit the spot, like 2 minutes after I took them, perked up, felt better. But I was really dehydrated. I was down almost a gallon's worth of sweat by the time I got home. And I got started about 7:30, so it wasn't super late, but late enough that 2 hours later it's getting warmer, right? So I needed to have pre-hydrated, and I just didn't do a very good job pre-hydrating Friday night, Saturday morning. And I'm gonna blame Chardonnay for that because she was sitting in my lap. So yeah, cat and lapitis, it's a real thing. Be careful. Sunday, got an easy 35-minute recovery run in. Got an easy, going back to the long run on Saturday. I ran it easy-ish. I decided I wasn't going to get too crazy with it and just kind of run by feel. Because, I was tired and feeling slightly beat up. And so, I took it fairly easy. I didn't go out and try to kill it. But, we had a couple miles that were getting close to 7 flat. So, we were in that kind of... We had a few miles that were, approaching that tempo state. But on the whole, we averaged 7:30 pace, which is smack dab in the middle of my easy range, right? And that's where we wanted to be. Turnover rate was decent, 162 steps per minute. It means I wasn't too fatigued, but I wasn't really clipping along either, especially considering I was wearing super shoes. So I was wearing the Super Comp Elites 3s, the previous old version that I've been wearing in my long runs lately. So all in all, it was a decent run. Sunday, I was a little tired. My right knee was a little stiff. I was starting to notice my IT band getting a little tight. But it wasn't too bad. I had a little bit of a crow hop. It kind of felt like I was running on a peg leg almost. That leg was just a little bit longer, just hitting the ground a little harder. But, by the time I was getting wrapped up, it was warmed up and lumbered up. It was fine, right? It felt fine. Then we got around to Monday, and that's where I was filming while running. I went out to go run about an hour or so from the house. And, just clicking around the neighborhood. Stopped at about 5.5 miles at the house, refill the handheld, pick up the phone and the selfie stick since it was light out now. And I go record, while running around the neighborhood. Hopefully, if I get my phone back today, hopefully I'll be able to edit in some of that footage I got. Because unfortunately the screen cracked. Not only did I crack the screen and turn my phone into a strobe light, but one of the cracks also went right across the camera. Yeah, it almost looks like a little bit of a lens flare effect. But it was all right. I know. Honestly, there's a reason I don't run with a phone, and that's why. So I guess I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet, and if that's something I want to do, I'm just gonna have to buy a little camera. But I got 8 miles in, nice and easy. I mean, probably average about like 7:45 pace or something like that in the neighborhood. So I mean, it wasn't too bad. Tuesday, feeling a little better. My right knee's still a little tight. Taking it easy at the beginning of the run, maybe about half mile in. Like, I pushed hard for 30 seconds or a minute, opened it up to maybe like threshold pace, maybe 5K effort. Just trying to get the legs turning over to clean up the mechanics since that right knee was feeling tight, like force that glute to engage. And with it being fall break for the kids, like, it's thrown out the whole lifting routine, and childcare is an issue. Sunday night at dinner time, the folks that were supposed to be doing childcare for Andrew, the 4-year-old, called and said, "Oh, he's the only one who signed up, so we're canceling it, leaving us, roughly 12 hours to try to find a babysitter before we're trying to work all week." So, needless to say, we got some childcare arranged with babysitters. So for like when our work schedules overlap and like we both have to be at work. So we got a little bit of that. Mia will be here in a little bit, which would be, man, huge shout out to Mia, man. She's great. But so yesterday morning, Tuesday morning, got the 5 miles easy in, just down around campus, picking up the tempo a little bit on the front end. That way I can get that knee working right, because it was feeling clunky and stiff again. And then I did a little bit of band work when I got home. I wish my phone hadn't been broken because Andrew wanted to hop in on the workout too. And so it was me, my wife, and my 4-year-old, all with rubber bands around our ankles, doing monster walks back and forth across the playroom and the living room, like trying to dodge furniture and toys. And it was great. It was fun. Only did one set, anticipating this morning's workout, so I didn't really want to overdo it. Also, I hadn't eaten yet, and I was hungry. So this morning's workout, Wednesday, the day of filming, we had our Wednesday morning track workout with the marathon training group that I run through the Lambright at Louisiana Tech. It's an official class, so we can make sure we have access to the track and stuff like that at 5 o'clock in the morning before it's officially open to the public. But we had a bunch of 400-meter threshold repeats on the docket this morning. And we did a similar workout this summer while doing 5K training, where we did 12 400s with 100-meter recovery, with every fourth one, so numbers 4, 8, and 12 being fast. So, the 400s threshold weren't too bad, but man, the one after that hard 400 was always rough, right? And that was for 5K training. Now that we're doing marathon training, we're just looking to get some threshold work in. Enough recovery that the heart rate stays fairly stable. That way if someone goes too hard, because we haven't done this kind of work in a bit, like if you accidentally jack your heart rate, it gives you a chance to get it back down and you're not like completely tanked, right? So the workout was 12 to 16 of these suckers, 400 meters on with 100-meter recovery at easy pace, not like a shuffle jog, but like your standard easy pace. So for me, like 7:30 pace, right? Somewhere around in that range. So we got warmed up, did our drills, handful of striders, the right knee's like a little tight, a little clunky. And then we started the reps, and we had a whole group of guys. We had like 8 people out there this morning, something like that, 8 or 9 folks. I haven't actually taken attendance yet. I'll have to do that when I get to the gym and turn in my roster. But we had a good group of folks out this morning. We had a couple undergrads that ran with us last year during the school year, came out and ran with us again for the first time this fall. It was also chilly. It was cold enough this morning that at 3:30 in the morning, I woke up freezing doing the, do I get out of bed to get my sweatpants and my sweatshirt that are right there on the floor, but that lets any warm air that's in the sheets out? Or do I just try to doze for another half hour before getting up to go to work? So I opted to be cold. So I actually wore my running cap this morning to warm up and cool down. left my t-shirt on. I didn't run in a long sleeve shirt, but I definitely wore my jacket like while driving because it was only like 49 out this morning, which the high today is supposed to be like 85 or something like that. So like we're in Louisiana, you know, 49 is cold for this time of year and it feels chilly, but it was perfect for threshold work. So we're cranking them out and like I'm trying to hit somewhere between, 85 to 87 kind of per quarter with 100 meters easy at like 730 pace. And the first one way too fast. Yeah, it was way too stupid fast, but I knew that was going to happen. That always happens on the first rep when we're doing these kind of things. Ended up running in 83, so too fast, right? After that, we kind of backed off a little bit, 87, 89, that one was a little too slow. And then all the rest were somewhere between 86 and 88. So, I mean, they were about where they needed to be. And the right knee was a little grumpy, but not too bad. And then the last rep, because my brain wasn't functioning correctly after, 4 miles of 400 meters repeats with 100 meter recovery. So because we started like at the front of the curve where like your standard start finish line is, what it means is that last rep started and finished at the 300 meter mark. And because my brain wasn't functioning well and I was just like, last one, send it, go. I ended up running a 500 instead. but the pace was right. The effort level was right. And then like, I stopped, caught my breath, caught up with a couple of the guys that, were still there. And like started cooling down with folks that had stopped earlier. Like they didn't do 16 reps. They did like 12, right? Or 8, depending on where they were in training, what they got going on. But so I ended up doing a little bit of a cool down with Brandon. Shout out to Brandon Buster. And so we started running and my right knee was extremely grumpy. It felt fine while I was doing the 400s, right? With that higher speed, like my glute was firing correctly. So I had good mechanics. So my knee felt good, right? But then as soon as I started trying to cool down, like my mechanics, I'm sure just like went out the window and the knee was like, I could tell I had like a crow hop and I was kind of like bouncing to one side a little bit. And so I think, I think I need to make sure that I haven't lifted yet today. But we're definitely going to be focusing on some glute activation kind of stuff and spend some time on the foam roller, getting the massage gun out. We're going to be attacking this pretty hard. Because I don't want any issues. In other exciting news, we're heading down to New Orleans this weekend for Oktoberfest for this 6K. We're going to have the tent set up, hanging out. Swing on by the tent, say hey. I'd love to meet you, take a selfie, whatever. I'm excited to see a couple of runners that I do know. A couple of my runners will be hanging out there as well. However, pro tip, race is at 4 p.m. I didn't bother to check the race time. So I still need to get a hotel for Saturday night because I just assumed I would drive home after the race thinking most races are in the morning. Why wouldn't it be in the morning? So don't be a bonehead like me. Always double check what time the event starts before you get hotel rooms out of town. But we'll be heading down Friday. I'll do my long run Saturday morning before going to Oktoberfest and hanging out there. So if you're following along, you like what's up, hit the like and subscribe button down below. It really helps us out. And then, stay tuned because next week maybe we'll talk about the 6K down in New Orleans a little bit. I haven't made up my mind yet if I'm going to run it, but I know I do have 18 miles to get in that day, so we'll see how I'm feeling, especially given how my knee is feeling. I do know the race goes on the horse racetrack for a lap, and so there's a part of me that's a little skeptical about whether it's a good idea if I got a little bit of a niggle going on to be racing, trying to do that after an 18-miler. So, I'm going to try to listen to my Coach Dylan hat on and try to listen to my own advice and see where we're at. But yeah, it's been a good week. I'm a little tired. Fall break is fun. The kids being home, busting in and out, hanging out with the kids a little bit. Definitely in a little bit of a fog this morning post threshold work. I mean, it was a total of a little over 8 miles between warming up and cooling down to striders and trolls, and 4 miles threshold pace and the recoveries between them. So my brain's a little foggy this morning. Yeah. Cup of coffee, multiple cups of hot chocolate, and I'm finally starting to brain some food. Brain's finally starting to work, 4 hours later. So, anyway, I'll catch you guys next week. Till next week, train smart.